As a human being who had escaped fate through the power of restriction, he destroyed our destinies. With Gojo deciding to wear Toji's outfit in his battle against Sukuna, this has led most viewing to ask, what was the intention behind this? Why is Gojo wearing Toji's outfit for this fight? I truly think that it goes further than most think, and that the answer lies within the hidden inventory arc. 13 years in the past, we see Gojo and Geto undertake a mission to escort Riko Amanai, the Star Plasma vessel. They begin this mission with the confidence that it'll go as all of their other missions do, as they refer to themselves as the strongest duo, with none being able to stand up to the two. But as this mission goes on, Gojo and Geto are eventually halted by the sorcerer killer, Toji Fushiguro. As Gojo approaches this fight with Toji Fushiguro, he believes that he'll defeat Toji as easily as he has defeated everybody else before him, but the result is Gojo not just being defeated, but facing utter decimation at the hand of Toji Fushiguro, being rent asunder as Toji mocks him and making sure to let Gojo know that he wasn't even at his full strength due to him being very rusty. Toji then goes on to easily decimate and mock Geto as well. As Gojo comes to grasp reverse curse technique at the brink of death due to no more than a miracle, he faces Toji down one last time, having an awakening that pushed him beyond anything he was. Gojo in this moment was no more just his strongest, but he alone had become the honored one, being the sole proprietor to hold this position of omnipotence to him and himself alone. And after this proclamation, he overcomes and defeats Toji, the same sorcerer who completely overwhelmed and broke the strongest duo, in this battle being one that would be engraved into the mind of Satoru Gojo for the rest of his time, with Gojo even making sure to continue training even after his awakening, mastering the Limitless completely and refining his domain expansion. As Gojo goes on to raise the next generation, he is eventually sealed by Kenjaku and removed from the series, but he eventually comes back on chapter 221 and declares that he will be defeating Sukuna in an organized match. And with Gojo's opponent being Ryomen Sukuna, the King of Curses, the same being that Gojo believes will give him trouble at full power, Gojo may be wearing that outfit in reminder of the battle, to honor the battle that made Gojo the honored one, and the same battle that caused fate to force Gojo into becoming the unparalleled power and one that can protect more than himself but the entire world from the conquest of Ryomen Sukuna. Now to talk about Toji. Toji was the man who was once rejected by fate, and thus he goes on to annihilate it, changing the course of fate that surrounds both the Six Eyes and the Limitless. With Gojo wearing his outfit against Sukuna and honoring Toji, this could be a hint at Gojo destroying fate as well, and becoming the being who can not only seal Sukuna, but completely eradicate him. Or it could be Gojo thanking Toji for allowing him to have the power and chance to stop Sukuna, as he wouldn't have been able to do it without Toji's efforts in the first place. With such symbolism and reference being present on Gojo's body, one could speculate that Gojo will face immense struggle and be brought close to death against the King of Curses. And this could allow for Gojo to have a second awakening beyond what he already is, as Gojo's identity and obsession have always resolved around being the strongest, in this same exact identity shaping every moment of his entire life. When it comes down to it, Toji's ending was the control variable of Fate's experiment with Satoru Gojo. And this experiment has spiraled to most events in this series getting completely out of control. From Gojo reaching a level of strength that can only be rivaled by the beast of calamity that is Ryomen Sukuna, to Geto falling into madness and thus resulting into his possession by Kenjaku, which has allowed Kenjaku to initiate the Culling game and everything else he's had planned for the last 1,000 years. Although we now see what everything has led up to, this allows me to ask, where do I think Toji's butterfly effect will end? I believe that where Toji's string of fate will be cut off is where Gojo and Sukuna both decimate one another, as Megumi will directly defeat his father through defeating Gojo and indirectly defeat his other father through defeating Gojo, who is representing Toji in this fight, both the Megumi's fathers being Gojo and Toji Zeni. Whereas Gojo defeats Sukuna and eradicates the remnants of Toji, this being Megumi. This will allow the man who was once absolutely rejected by fate to to ironically be the one who's allowed the two strongest beings in history to reach levels of strength that none have ever obtained before the two of them. And to have his actions indirectly cause these two to have a battle that would be deciding the fate of the entire world. In a couple of ways, it's quite poetic, as Toji would be the one manipulating fate, when fate initially believed that it could exile him, and he, who was not supposed to make a single dent in this world, is the one who had completely changed it. If Gojo and Sukuna are to defeat one another here and now, this will lead the final battle to be Yuji and Ko against his father Kenjaku and his cursed spirit of death created from the culling game. Something to point out here is that Yuji Tadori also seems to have a funny relationship with fate as well, as the story once states that the sparks of black do not choose who to bless, whereas it's also stated that there is not a single Jujutsu sorcerer who can use the Black Flash at will. However, in this fight, Itadori is so amazing that he makes you think that he's using it at will. Against Mahito, once Yuji proclaimed that he would need a Black Flash in order to defeat him, the next attack he landed on Mahito was a Black Flash. The most interesting thing about this is, the phenomenon of the Black Flash is supposed to be so rare, yet Yuji Tadori can call upon it whenever he needs it the most. It truly does seem as if fate just allows Yuji to grasp and almost manipulate the sparks of black, no matter how much the laws of it says otherwise. To conclude, I believe that all these predictable events we have expected to happen throughout the series, such as Kenjaku vs Yuta, Yuji vs Sukuna, and more, just simply have a strong chance of not happening. Jujutsu Kaisen has already been very unpredictable, and this could be a reach, but it may have been written to be a very unpredictable story, not only because of how Gege Akutami writes himself, but because Toji destroyed the natural path of fate. Thus, all these unpredictable anomalies occur and overwrite the predictable and obvious timeline that never had Toji's intervention of the escort of the star plasma vessel to Tengen. If you really think about it, everybody would have likely lived very happy lives had Toji never intervened and changed the destiny of almost every character in this series. But Gojo may have never become the strongest either. Satoru Gojo is more than likely aware that his battle with Toji was the one that allowed him to surpass everybody, including himself. And as a thanks for gifting him with the ability to protect every single person alone, he shows his respects to Toji by wearing this outfit and shoulders everyone's burdens one last time to face down the King of Curses. If you took the time to listen to this video, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, and of course, I will see you all in the next one. Peace out, guys.